University is essentially was a real estate course, was an opportunity in which people could learn about real estate, and you pay a tuition, and you attended these courses.
Roger, get closer to the microphone.
I'm sorry, I apologize. And 91% of the people who attended Trump University were happy with the result. So, but some of those who attended, who were not successful in their subsequent real estate activities, have come back to sue. Now, this matter went to trial already in New York State because a handful of people there filed. Trump was victorious in that suit on every count but one, which will go back to trial. But having been briefed by Trump's lawyers for technical reasons, he will win on that single count as well. This is a MacGuffin. This is an attempt to smear Trump. There is an overwhelming satisfaction rate with those who attended the university. I don't think it is possible for 100% of the people to succeed. But I do think that the course, and I've seen the course material, I think it was very valuable. So this is part of the Koch brothers coming smear. As I revealed on Infowars.com last night, and on Facebook, help me here, Facebook mentions that there was a secret meeting in New York City the night before last. 200 extremely wealthy insiders got together to discuss how Donald Trump could be stopped. And they came up with $75 million that will be used for a massive ad campaign onslaught on Trump. Now, you're going to read in the papers that it's $25 million. I'm telling you, because I had a mole in the room, it's $75 million.
$75 million.
And an additional $25 million to Marco Rubio, who's really just Jeb Jr. In other words, it's Bushism in a more attractive package, in a younger, more articulate package, but it's the worst type of neocon, rush to war, erosion of our civil liberties, massive debt, high taxes on working people, but lets the hedge fund managers pay almost nothing, bail out the big failed banks and make the taxpayers pay for it. It's just Bushism in a more attractive package. They told Marco Rubio that he has until Florida. And if he cannot win Florida, he has been ordered to withdraw, and Mitt Romney will file in the New York, New Jersey, and California primaries. Folks, you heard it here first. Actually, you heard it on Infowars.com first. But that is the plan. Now, the other part of this, in all honesty, is the way they seek to stall Trump short of enough votes to win on the first ballot. So the thinking here is that if Rubio or Romney, with Ted Cruz running interference for them, because, I'm sorry folks, he's a Bushy. He was George W. Bush's top issue advisor. His wife, Heidi Cruz, was the Deputy National Security Advisor under Condoleezza Rice when they lied us into war in Iraq. And then, having damaged the country there, she went over to the U.S. Trade Representative's office, where she was the Assistant U.S. Trade Representative for China policy. Wow. That you hear Donald Trump talk so much about. This is how she ends up at Goldman Sachs. Does anybody think Goldman Sachs is a liberty-based organization? No. This is a big Wall Street bank that you and I bailed out with our tax dollars. Now, you may have heard this very emotional story that Ted Cruz tells about going to his wife and telling her that she has to cash in her retirement so they can use the money to fund his long shot, dark horse U.S. Senate campaign right here in Texas. It's a great story. The problem is, it's a lie. They never cashed in anything. They went to Goldman Sachs and they got a secret sweetheart loan for $1 million at an interest rate that, trust me, Goldman is not offering any of their clients. They took an additional $1 million loan from Citibank. And that's how he funded his elevation. Is it any surprise that Heidi Cruz is a member of the Council on Foreign Relations? She's authored a terrific paper on the North American Accord, which is the next step plan for one world government on a regional basis. So the idea that he's a conservative, yeah, he's a conservative, starting about 4 years ago. If you don't like John Roberts and the job he's done on the Supreme Court, there's only one guy to blame, the guy who recruited him to the Bush administration, the guy that pushed him for Supreme Court. That would be Rafael Ted Cruz. So he's a Trojan horse, folks. He's a Quisling. He's one of them, posing as one of us. And his goal right now, drain votes from Donald Trump on the hopes that a Mitt Romney or a Marco Rubio, ganging up with John Kasich, another globalist, can block Trump on the first ballot. Now they have something called Rule 40B. Rule 40B was put in place by the Romney people 3 years ago to stop Ron Paul. Ron Paul is a Republican congressman. He ran in the primaries, he won delegates, he had the right to have his name put in nomination and his votes tallied. So in order to stop him, they passed a rule that says you have to have a majority of the vote in at least 8 states in order to have your name put in nomination. Rule 40B can be amended, has to be either appealed, amended, or repealed, amended, or repassed prior to the convention. Here's one thing I do know about the Bushes. They play these convention rules like a piano. They understand the rules in a way that no one else does because they have maneuvered so long in the vineyards of the Republican Party to seize power. And therefore, there will be an all-out effort by the establishment to stop Trump. And then we use any means necessary, including the nomination of an establishment white knight from the floor. That would be Mitt Romney. That's the plan. I am working with a group of others, veterans of the Goldwater campaign, veterans of the early Reagan campaigns, veterans of Ron Paul's campaign, to put together a convention operation to thwart them. People who know the rules as well as they do. We're not without assets. We're not without our own tactics and our own maneuvers. If you want to help, you can go to stopthesteal.org. We don't need to raise a lot of money, but when I went to the Republican National Committee and told them I need some housing, they said, "Oh, there's no housing." When I said, "Well, we might need credentials," they said, "Oh, there's no credentials." No, they're going to try to jam us at the convention. Now, some people are savvy enough to realize that if they do that, the Republican nomination will be worthless. But to the Republican insiders, that's fine because they'd rather have Hillary Clinton than Donald Trump. After all, Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan, they get to keep their offices. In fact, you could argue that their power would be enhanced under a President Clinton. So, unlike with Ronald Reagan, where at a certain point the establishment realized they couldn't stop him, so they had to co-opt him, they will never throw in the towel because they recognize that Trump, whatever his faults may be, and God knows he is not perfect, he would tell you that himself, but they do know that he can't be bought, and he can't be bullied, and he is not a globalist, and he believes in American sovereignty. And he's running not because he's on an ego trip, not because he needs this to validate his self-worth. The guy's worth $10 billion. He's built a real estate enterprise second to none. He's an international brand. He's created hundreds of thousands of jobs and opportunities. He has met with more foreign leaders, more prime ministers, more presidents, more premiers, more governors, more mayors around the world than any of these other career politicians. He's a big picture thinker, but they know they cannot co-opt him. They cannot fool him. He's running